Hello everyone, and welcome to video number 3 in the Secrets to Kumihimo series. In video 2, I showed you how to do an 8-strand bracelet, and that got you used to the repetition and using the disc. But in today's video, we're going to take that bracelet and we're going to incorporate seed beads and pearls to make this wonderful bracelet. This bracelet will look like it took you forever to make, but it's really all about repetition, as you'll see while you continue your Kumihimo journey with me. I'll also be showing you a few tricks while you're stringing seed beads and pearls onto cords.
Get our email newsletter for beading news, sale announcements, new product announcements, and more. Link is in the description below.
To get started, this is what we'll need. Some peach and gray seal-on cord in both 0.5 millimeter, seed beads, pearls, some bead caps, and some eye pins, and also some clasps. Kumihimo disc, Kumihimo weights, Huggy spools, and these are going to be so helpful to keep those cords from getting tangled. E6000 glue, some E6000 fray lock, some scissors, snippers. You may need a bead reamer to open up those ends of those pearls, and a flat iron. I'm making a 7-inch bracelet. We'll need 4 strands of each color at 40 inches. Also, you're going to want to tie an overhand knot to just keep these cords together. I'm going to show you how to prep the cord ends to make it easier to thread through seed beads and pearls. So I have a little E6000 fray lock in the little tray here. I'm just going to put a little bit on my finger here, and we're just going to go over the cord. And we're going to do that to each cord and let that dry. After the glue has completely dried, it is now nice and stiff, and you're going to take these neat little snippers that we also sell at Fire Mountain, and you're going to make a 45-degree angle cut. And then it makes a nice little sharp edge that's like a needle that you can thread through the seed bead and pearls with ease. Okay, as you can see, when you take the seal-on cord off the spool, it's very, very curly. So that is why I have a straight iron here. So a few passes with it and it ends up being nice and straight. So here we have our strings ready. I've tied the knot. We attached the Kumihimo weight and dropped it through the hole. You can see the hooks just right on the knots. And then I arranged our cords exactly the same as the previous video on our 8 braid. So now you can see that I have our 2 peach at the top, 2 peach on the bottom, 2 gray on each sides. As we thread our pearls and seed beads onto our string, we're following a pattern. And as you can see on the peach strings, I've started with the pearl and then added 3 seed beads, continued with the pearl, 3 seed beads, pearls, 3 seed beads, and so on. When we're stringing on the gray cord, we're going to use the same pattern, but we're going to start with 3 seed beads, pearl, seed beads, pearl, seed beads, pearl. So it's the same pattern, but we're starting the strings differently. So the final count on the peach strings, you're going to have a count of 13 pearls and 12 sets of 3 seed beads. And on the gray cord, we're going to have 13 sets of 3 seed beads and 12 pearls. If you find you need to add more beads for a larger bracelet than 7 inches, go ahead and add more beads to the end. And now we're going to add these strands to a Huggy spool. Now that we have our seed beads and pearls strung on our 40-inch cord, I'm going to go ahead and spool it on our Huggy spools. They are very convenient. They pop open. And they keep everything nice and tidy and keeping the cords from tangling into each other. And then it just closes like that, and you're ready to go. All right, we're going to start with our 8-strand braid that was exactly the same as our previous video. And I'm going to do a cycle and show you what a cycle is. So a cycle is when we're finishing a color. So I'm going to start with the bottom 17, going up to 31, and then the top right going down to bottom 15. That's one whole cycle, okay? So after a cycle, I'm going to turn, and we're going to do the same with the gray. So bottom left to top left, top right to bottom right, and that's a cycle. Turn. We're going to do the same thing, and remember to keep these nice and tight because you want your braid to be tight. Bottom to top, top to bottom, quarter turn. Bottom to top, top to bottom. And you can see right here, it's a little bit tight. This is what's great about the Huggy spool. I'm just going to loosen it a little bit just so my beads can drop down a little bit. And then I have a quarter turn again. Bottom to top, top to bottom. So I'm going to keep doing that until I do 15 cycles. All right, I just have a couple more cycles to go, but I want to show you if you have to walk away from your disc at any point, if you have to cook dinner or tend to something, start a cycle first, just like that. So you have 3 at the top. So if you have to walk away and you come back, you know this is where you need to continue. So I'm going to finish this cycle, and I'm going to do just a couple more and we'll be able to drop our beads. Okay. Quarter turn, bottom to top, top to bottom, quarter turn. Now I'm going to start dropping my beads. So it's going to pick up the same cord that you were going to, but this time you're going to take the pearl, because that's the first one there, and drop it down. And then you want it down underneath those cords, see? And you want it to be secure before you take the cord and put it to the top. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and it's going to secure. You're going to need a little bit of help with your fingers and hold it, and that's fine. It's just first couple of ones that's hard to get going. So there's another one. I'm going to drop the pearl, and it's going to go underneath the cords and right there. And this is why it's important to kind of keep those cords nice and tight. Okay, so we're going to turn a quarter turn, and we're going to do the same now with the gray cords. And a quarter turn, and we're back to the peach one with the pearl. And drop the pearl, and go underneath those cords. Just kind of help it out a little bit. Oh, there's a seed bead that was trying to hide in there, so just make sure you're just doing one at a time. Okay, and then top to the bottom again. Pearl goes down underneath those cords, and you're going to see that it's going over this one cord on this side. And that's what you want to do. You're going to always want to go over the cord that's going to be on your left. Set the gray, drop a seed bead. Sometimes you got to help the little seed bead down there. There we go. Underneath the cord, help with your little finger there. Into the slot. Grab, drop the seed bead, help it along, under the cord, down in the slot, quarter turn. And at times you want to just make sure that you're all nice and straight, just so your braid's nice and tight. Okay. And this is going to just continue this until you run out of beads. So I'm just going to continue this braid until almost all the beads have been added, and we'll pick up from there. We'll be right back. All right, we're just about done, but I'm going to show you how much we've actually done here. Remember, I've made this for a 7-inch bracelet, but you can add more beads if you want to make it larger. Okay, so now you can see that I actually took off the weight, because once it gets to be this long, you can feel safe to take that weight off. So now let's just go ahead and finish these rotations and get rid of the last of our beads. There's one, and then we're going to turn, and then get rid of this pearl. We're going to do this, and then top to bottom. And there's one more seed bead just underneath, just there. And as you can see, as we gotten further down the braid, it is actually a little bit easier for those beads and seed beads to fall into place. And then a couple more. Oops, we only want one. Yeah, sometimes they get really slippery and they want to join each other. There we go. All right, almost there. Remember, always keeping it nice and tight so your braid stays tight. Here's the last bead on that string. We're almost there. And then come down. And then the last bead on that string. Almost there. Oops. So we got a last minute tingle here. And I am trying to untangle. That's why it's really nice having these Huggies, but towards the end when there's really not much to hold on to. There we go. Make sure I'm grabbing the right one. There we go. All right. And the last bead on that gray one. And last bead on this peach one. Last bead on this peach one. And down on the gray. Last one on that one. I think there's just one or two more cycles to get rid of that last bead. Oh, yep, so the last one on the peach one on this side. And I believe it's the last one on this one. So now that I used all my beads, I'm going to start continuing the cycles without the beads and do 15 cycles like I did in the beginning. And we're doing that so that I have about 1/4 of an inch of braid to be able to add our bead cap onto. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the braid and we'll be right back. After we've done our 15 cycles, you can see I have just a little bit of the braid without the beads. That's so we could put it in the bead cap. I'm going to finish it off with the overhand knot just to secure everything together like I did in the beginning. And now I'm going to trim all the excess string because I don't want or need any of all that hanging out of my bead cap. Okay, so I finished one end and I'm going to go ahead and finish this other end. So what I'm going to do is take my eye pin and I opened it up. I'm going to push it through this little braid that we did, and you can see that I opened the eye pin and I'm going to just now close it so it stays secure. Okay. Then I'm going to take some E6000 glue and then I'm going to put it all over the knot here. And this is going to help keep our bead cap steady. Okay. I'm going to thread our bead cap on. Oops. Go through the hole. Okay. And then we're going to bring that down. And I just close the edges down around the knot. Okay. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to make a 90-degree bend about 1 millimeter up. I'm going to take my round nose. I'm going to make a loop And we're going to make a double wrapped loop. So I'm going to just turn that so it's easier to grab. And we're just going to go around a couple times here to secure it. And then I'm going to take that off and find my cut spot. And I'm going to take some flush cutters and snip that off. I'm going to straighten that up just a bit. Okay, so I'm going to just add the clasp. And I opened up this little end here so I can attach it to the bracelet. I'm going to just slip it in there. And then we're going to close that up. And there we have it, our beautiful 8-strand braided bracelet that incorporates both pearls and seed beads. Well, we did it. We covered the 8-strand braids. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to do a flat strand braid using our square Kumihimo disc. We'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and sign up for our email newsletter.